Hey everyone, so today I want to start by asking you a simple question. How much time have you spent sitting today? And actually think about it between waking up, eating breakfast, going to class, maybe driving or taking the bus, watching something, being on your phone. How much time have you spent sitting today? Now I want you to think about how much you've moved your body today, even just a little, whether that's a walk or stretching, anything. If you're like most college students, which I include myself in, then the answer is probably not much. And honestly, I used to think this was normal. We're tired, we're stressed, we've got class and work and assignments, and we're just trying to squeeze in a social life on top of all of that. And there's not exactly time for long gym sessions or a run every single day. But here's the thing that actually shocked me. According to the World Health Organization in 2022, over 1.4 billion people around the world are considered to be physically inactive. And in some countries, this is now seen as a bigger health risk than smoking, which blew my mind. And I get it, this sounds dramatic. I used to think stuff like, I'm just tired, or I'll do it later, or I don't need to do this and worry about this until I'm older. But the truth is, this stuff is already starting to affect us right now. So let me tell you a little bit about why I started caring about physical activity. Freshman year, I was constantly exhausted. I was sleeping maybe 5 hours a night, drinking way too much caffeine, and felt completely overwhelmed most of the time. I just kept thinking I needed to work harder, or I wasn't organized enough and I needed to have better time management. Then one day, after a super stressful midterm, I just needed to clear my head. So I grabbed my sneakers, these ones right here, and I went for a walk. Just around the block. I didn't even bring headphones with me. 10 minutes later, I came back and felt better. Not perfect, but just a little bit better. And felt like I could breathe again. So that one walk became something I started doing a few times a week. Then pretty soon, almost every day. And over time, it started changing more than just my mood. I was sleeping better, I had more energy, I wasn't zoning out as much in class, and I wasn't needing my daily Dr. Pepper. So today I want to talk to you about just how 10 minutes of movement a day, nothing extreme, just 10 intentional minutes, can actually make a huge difference for your physical and mental health. First, I'll explain how inactivity is more dangerous than we think. Second, I'll show you what even a little bit of movement can actually do for your body and brain. And last, I'll share some realistic ways to fit movement into your daily life, even if your schedule feels packed. So let's talk about the problem. In 2023, the CDC said being inactive increases your risk of heart disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and even some types of cancer. And that sounds like something you deal with later on in life, right? But the truth is these issues don't just pop up out of nowhere. They build up slowly, and college is often where these habits start. So let's talk about mental health. In 2022, the American Psychological Association found that sedentary movement is directly linked to higher rates of anxiety, depression, and chronic stress in young adults. Why? Because we're not moving. We're not releasing dopamine or serotonin, the chemicals that help regulate our mood and focus, and instead we're building up stress hormones like cortisol, which makes everything feel heavier than it actually is. So if you're feeling foggy, drained, anxious, or just like you can't catch a break, it might not be because you're lazy or you're bad at time management. It could actually be your body saying, hey, I need to move a little bit. Now here's the good thing. It doesn't take much. When we hear exercise, I immediately picture something like someone sprinting on a treadmill or going to the gym at 6 a.m. in the morning. And that's not realistic for a lot of people. And science says you don't need to do all of that anyways. A study done in 2021 at Harvard Health found that just 15 minutes of walking a day can actually help you live up to 3 years longer. That's just walking. And get this, according to a massive study published in the Lancet Psychiatry in 2018, which looked at data for over 1.2 million people who exercise regularly, had 43% fewer poor mental health days per month than people who didn't. That's almost half as many bad days just for moving more. So why? Because movement helps your brain function better. You're boosting blood flow. You're activating the parts of your brain that control memory, focus, and emotional regulation. You're literally helping your brain work for you instead of against you. And remember, this doesn't have to mean lifting weights or doing burpees. It can be a walk around your dorm or apartment complex, dancing in your room for 10 minutes, stretching while you watch a YouTube video, even just standing up and walking around in between your study sessions. These little things done consistently add up. So how do you actually make this a habit? Because let's be real, knowing this stuff doesn't automatically make it easy to do. I still have days where I don't feel like moving, but I've learned a few things that help me stay on track. Do it with a friend. Walking with someone or doing a quick challenge together makes it way easier. Make a playlist because music changes your mood. Track your movement. Whether it's a step counter on your phone or app, it's making you feel like you're making progress. And start really small. Even just 5 minutes a day can change your life. So let's wrap this up. We talked about how being inactive is doing more harm than we think and how we've kind of normalized it, especially in college. We looked at research behind movement and how just 10 or 15 minutes can improve your mood, focus, sleep, and even how long you live. And we've talked about how easy it is to fit into your day without having to overhaul your life. These shoes, nothing special, just regular beat-up sneakers, but they're a reminder that change doesn't have to be huge. It just needs to be consistent. 10 minutes of movement a day changed how I feel and honestly how I function. So here's my challenge to you. Move for 10 minutes today. That's it. Go for a walk, stretch, dance, do a quick workout video, whatever you want to do. Then do it again tomorrow and see what happens when you stick with it for a week. I think you'll be surprised by how different you feel. So let's stop sitting through our lives and start moving our bodies more.